Hey, I told you I'll follow up with you, man. You ready to be alarmed?
Big man.
Turn it.
Hey, we are fired up, my friend. You're going to change the culture for us, man. We're going to build this thing around guys like you. You hear me? Hey, listen, I'm going to turn you over to our owner, all right? Sheila Ford Hamp, all right? So just a minute here. All right, brother.
Wow! There's a very excited draft room
That's
here.
outstanding.
Is this what optimism feels like? What a fucking draft, boys and girls. Oh my god.
That was one of the most entertaining drafts I've seen in a long time.
We had some good picks. We had some great picks. And honestly, we had some teams that actually drafted super well that usually just absolutely pooped the bed.
Or how about the trades that happened too?
There was
That
a lot of
first round was one of the most exciting first rounds in the NFL draft I think I've ever seen.
The Cowboys traded with the Eagles.
When
To jump the Giants.
Well, yeah, like when enemies collide.
Dude, do you understand? Like, literally, that was a big part of the draft, and people weren't talking about it, like, I guess, like, as NFL experts, but I talked to several Cowboys fans, I talked to several Eagles fans, they're like, bro, I was like, dude, why are you upset? You got Devontae Smith. He's like, dude, we had to trade with the Cowboys. I was like, so? And they're like,
Get off your high horse. Get off your high horse.
It's unreal,
honestly.
dude. They literally have issues with, like, they're like, it's just like,
That rivalry runs that deep.
You got a receiver and you haven't had a receiver in 40 years.
That's
like,
true.
What's the issue? I don't understand. So I want to kind of talk about, we're going to go from 5 to 1. We're going to talk about the 5 best drafts that we think happened. We're going to talk about the best picks for them and then kind of where whether they address needs, whether they grab value, or whether they just got an absolute steal. Okay?
Yeah. To build off of that, essentially the criteria that we're basing these choices off of are teams that chose players that fit the positions that they need and how well they did at that.
Yeah.
And
then on top of that, we're also going to talk about steals. People that maybe it wasn't like a huge need, but it was such a good prospect that you're like, dude, we got to take this guy. He had a top 10 grade or something like that, and he fell to the 37th pick.
The guys that fall in your lap.
But guys that you're just like, how? You know
100%.
what I mean? Where you don't even need them, but it's good. So I want to start with Carolina. I did a lot of research on Carolina. We have a friend named Matt who's a big Carolina fan, and so when this pick came in, the J.C. Horn pick,
we didn't know how to feel at first.
He didn't. He was...
Well, I didn't really either, to be honest.
So J.C. Horn, I was saying Patrick Surtain was a better corner. I went back and I did more research. Honestly, like, J.C. Horn's the better corner. He's a better man corner. Like, he's an absolute, like, he's a shadow, dude, when it comes to being a corner and a defensive back in the NFL. And that's, like, what you need when you're playing in this, the NFC South. Like, you're playing against
You know what Surtain's holdback is, too, right?
What?
He's injury prone.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah,
like, I'm not messing with no injury prone corners. You don't need, bro. I don't need that. I need, like, D. Milliner.
That was one of the best sells about J.C. Horn.
Yeah, but, like, I want to kind of go through some of the picks. So they took J.C. Horn 8th overall. They took Terrace Marshall, wide receiver out of LSU in the 2nd round. And he was supposed to go, like, high 2nd round, low end 1st round. They also grabbed Brady Christensen, the tackle out of BYU. He's 25, but he's ready to play right now. Like,
that was a good pick right there.
You protect Sam Darnold. He didn't have a ton of protection. You grab Terrace Marshall, who's a wide receiver who can grow, while you already have Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore. That gives you a good receiving core. And on top of it, you have Dante Jackson in the back. You went and got...
young receiving core.
Who's the safety that they have that's an absolute phenomenal... Jeremy Chin. They went and get Jeremy Chin. And then you get J.C. Horn. Your secondary is set right now. And
that's a top 5 secondary.
And that defensive line is also pretty good. Like, that defensive line is no joke. And so I give them a lot of credit. They got Tommy Tremble in, like, the 3rd round or the 4th round, who's the tight end, who I really like. But then they got Chuba Hubbard in the 4th round. Dude, the guy had like a top 20 grade going into last year, and you get him in the 4th round. I understand. Like,
I have no idea how he fell that far.
Dude, people had him going like 6th round. It's because, like, he had a really rough, like, 2020, dude. Like, 2020, like, the coach comes out and, like, he had a bunch of issues with Mike Gundy or whatever that guy's name is. And then, like, basically played like 3 or 4 games and then ended up opting out like the rest of the season. Like, he's a very good football player. He runs extremely hard. He's a beast. He had over 2,000 yards in 2019 at Oklahoma State. And then all of a sudden he's a 4th round pick. It just didn't make sense to me.
And thing is, it's like, running back, you can never be too deep at running back.
Bro, and you're going to take someone that was possibly like a top 10 pick and like take them in the 3rd round. I would take them in the 3rd round. Maybe not the 2nd, I get it, but like 3rd round, absolutely.
Typically, I'm not a big fan of stockpiling picks too, because that's 100% what the Panthers did is stockpiled picks. But I think they did a pretty good job of it.
They did smart, and they didn't reach at all. And that's
Not
what
at all. In
not
fact, they
because
did I'd say they did the opposite.
Yeah, I would say they let people fall. Like J.C. Horn would have gone ninth. You know what I mean? He would have gone to the Broncos.
They played the
Surtain.
field very well.
Well, the Broncos took Surtain, and I think they would have taken J.C. Horn if he was there.
I think so. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think so.
So
I mean,
let's.
they probably should have
so-
gotten a quarterback, but
Yeah, that's the thing is like Justin Fields is still on the board. We'll talk about him in a little bit.
I mean, that's not one of the teams we're talking about, but
Yeah.
they fucked
But
up.
I'll kind of throw this one over to you because we're going to talk about your team next, and you guys also had a really good draft that I know you were super excited about.
I'm stoked about it. 100. I'm fired up about this. This is the best draft that the Chargers have had in a long time, and this is when they really needed it most. So our biggest needs is that we needed a left tackle to protect Herbert, and we needed a starting caliber corner. And
Exactly.
so those were the biggest needs that we had, and we did that with bells and whistles, and then on top of it, we didn't have to reach either. That is an A++++ for those guys. So I'm really stoked about Rashawn Slater and Asante Samuel Jr. because those are the two players that I'm talking about. Rashawn Slater, smart left tackle out of Northwestern. You know, you saw that video of him going viral of him front squatting 5 plates. Did you know he was a freshman? He was front squatting 5 plates.
That's insane.
Dude, he's literally wearing these nerdy glasses, and he's like, just front squatting 5 plates. And I'm like, okay. He was literally 19 when he did that.
Freak.
Yeah, he was the guy. He came in as a freshman, and he was one of the best players at Northwestern as a freshman.
Well, dude, you have your left tackle for the next 10 years right now.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, I'm
Knock
sorry.
on wood. Knock on wood. This is the Chargers that we're talking about.
Yeah, injuries.
Asante Samuel Jr. Love Florida State defensive backs. Defensive backs in Florida State historically have done very, very well, and on top of it, he comes from good genes. So I'm happy about that.
I mean, there's only that one guy, Dion.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, so the other people that I was really, really excited about too, was Chris Rumpf, the linebacker from Duke. If you watch this guy's highlights, he was a beast. Not very big. He definitely needs to put on some weight. He's only about 6'2", 240, but he's slippery.
Dad's a deep professional defensive line coach.
Which doesn't suck. Yeah, that helps out a little bit. Well, they needed a guy to replace Malik Jefferson. Malik Jefferson just got released this year. And this is a perfect person for that. And probably one of the biggest sleeper people, if you will, sleeper picks in that the Chargers chose was Larry Roundtree.
I love that.
I'm not gonna lie, because I was looking through their draft picks, and I'm thinking, okay, they really need a running back. Eckler's great, and he's very, very special, but we need someone that can run through the tackles. Joshua Kelly, you know what I mean?
Fact.
Like, you know, we got Justin Jackson, you know, like they're not
all
gonna get it
hurt.
done. I went and I looked up this guy, Larry Roundtree. This guy is a dude. He is a beast. Like, he is slippery. He could run through the tackles. He's big. He's fast. He literally, a lot of analysts were saying that he was the best running back behind Najee Harris to come out of the SEC. Yeah. And so I cannot complain. We got him in the 7th round. I give this draft an A for the Chargers. This is one of the best ones that they've had in a very, very long time. I'm stoked about it. The only thing that can hold us back are injuries, which, you know, that will be to be determined.
Hey,
But hey, we got to start now.
you got to start. You got a foundation now, and I think that's really
we got a
important.
foundation. And probably the thing that excites me the most is that we got Corey Linsley. We have the best center in the league. Centers are almost always the smartest guys on the offensive line, who will be a fantastic mentor for Rashawn Slater. Who better to mentor than the best center
It's
in the
going to
league?
soak up knowledge. It's going
100%.
to be awesome.
So well done, Tom Telesco. One last thing I was going to say that was pretty funny is Tom Telesco. This is one of the quotes that he said. He was being interviewed by like someone from the Chargers media, and he said, based on our research, we were expecting Rashawn Slater to fall to 13. And I'm like, yeah, okay, Tom. No. Okay, literally, this is because the Bengals are idiotic and they chose not to get a tackle. We're going to talk about that in a video later this week, though.
Yeah.
All right, and so that's the Chargers. Next up, we got the Lions.
All right, we're going to talk about the Lions. We're going to talk about my team. So, dude,
This is gonna be fun.
bro. Well, dude, there were so many picks that we could have gone with. We needed a quarterback. Like Jared Goff's great, but like he's not.
You needed a lot.
We need a lot. We need corners. We need safeties. We need
Receivers.
We need receivers. We need running back. Running backs were good, but we needed offensive line. Dude, Penei Sewell fell to the 7th pick. At first I was like, all right, like he's a generational talent. But then after I started watching highlights, I started watching him. Dude, he's special. Like he's absolutely an animal. Dude, the guy's like 6'6", like 330. He moves like a tight end, bro. Like seriously. And I was stoked. Then we took Levi out of Washington. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name, but he plays defensive tackle. He was graded at low first round, high second. And the guy's an absolute freak. He played at Washington. He's a redshirt senior. And honestly, after they drafted him, they're like, what do you like about your game? He's like, I like fucking people up and making them feel bad about themselves. And I was like, dude, yeah. Like,
Dan Campbell's going to love him.
like,
What's his kneecap biting ability?
oh, it's like a 9 out of 10. Like, yeah.
Ooh.
So Levi, dude, and then we took Aleem McNeil out of North Carolina State, defensive tackle. He's kind of undersized, but he's an absolute freak. He moves really fast for a defensive tackle. And then my favorite pick, honestly, was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Dude, I know you went to Day. I know you're in the area. Like,
I mean, we gotta love him. Obviously, he's a local guy.
yeah, dude, he went to Day. He was in our league. Like, bro, shout out to you. Like, his brother plays for the Packers, Equanius, and dude, the guy should have gone 2nd round. And we get a great route runner with great hands in the 4th round when we needed a receiver. I'm a big fan. And like the cool thing that I really liked is we were talking about how tough the Lions were going to be. We're going to be tough. Like we're going to be tough. And then we went out and did it. Like
because that's what you need. That's all you guys really have this
and
year.
we needed to draft someone that was like just mean. And so we drafted 3 guys. Our first 3 picks were just freaking linemen. And we're just going to absolutely like, look, hey man, we might win a ton of games. We're going to beat the shit out of you though.
Yeah,
we're going to beat the shit out of you. You're going to be fucked up.
You saw the Worm after they drafted Penei Sewell. They're all chest bumping each other, high fiving each other.
They're just fucking men.
That was who they wanted. That was a win for the Lions.
Dude, Brad Holmes was losing his mind. I love Brad Holmes.
Mm-hmm. Well, and on top, I think one of the things I really like too is that they didn't stockpile, and the picks that they had 2 3rd round and 2 4th round picks. Yeah. So the picks they didn't stockpile, and on top of it, they had picks that were higher up in the draft. This is a great draft for the Lions.
And now we're gonna kind of get to like some of the sexier picks because I do.
Yeah, we gotta.
And now we're gonna get to some of the sexier picks, and like that's what I'm really excited about because I did like some of the lineman picks. We had some really good value. Sewell should have gone 5th. You know what I mean? Like we'll talk about that.
Undoubtedly, unequivocally should have gone 5th.
Like we might just do a whole video on that, but
that's worthy of an entire
so
video.
here's what Miami does. Oh, my bad. Miami trades back, right? They trade back from 3 to 6, and they take Waddle, right? Which is, and people are like, dude, you could have had Jamar Chase. It's like, dude, they got 2 first-round picks moving back 3 spots.
I'm a big fan of trading back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of first-round talent that doesn't pan out well.
And then here's the thing: is like you get Jalen Waddle, who if that's the highest receiver on your board, then you got him after the 2nd receiver on your board. And then you take Jalen Phillips at, I think, 19th or 20th. And then you took Javon Phillips out of Oregon, who's a really good safety that can kind of play like Minka Fitzpatrick. He plays all over the field. He's a
great safety.
He's a hybrid. He's hybrid as fuck. And like that's really important. And they really like that kind of player. And then they took Deontay Brown at guard, and like, you shore up the offensive line a little bit. You have depth. And you can
and they have Hunter Long too. Hunter Long, the tight end out of BC.
Yeah,
he's
I like
a
him.
stud.
I like him too.
Well, and thing is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't really think the Dolphins have any real threats at tight end.
They do.
Who?
Mike Gesicki.
Oh, they do have Mike Gesicki.
He's a beast.
Yeah, he's really good.
That's the only reason they really bring up Hunter Long because like I don't think he's gonna have a ton of playing time. I think he's gonna be a blocker at first for sure. Mm-hmm. Because dude, I love Mike Gesicki, bro. I love
and they got a running back too, in Larnell Coleman.
Yeah.
And so they got another running back.
A lot of needs, and like
they fulfilled a lot of needs.
Yeah, and they did. And like honestly, like taking Deontay Brown like later in the draft, taking a guard was like sick. Like they do have a line. Like they have drafted a lot of players over the last few years, but like taking a guard was like really big for me. I was like, oh, thank God. Like the guy's not going to get absolutely murdered. Tua has no excuses now.
No excuses.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're trying to find out because they have the other pieces around Tua. They're deciding now. Okay, is Tua going to be able to get the job done? Or are we going to have to trade and go get someone else?
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's where they're at right now.
Yeah.
That's where they're at. And last, but definitely not least, well, let's just get rid of that real quick. And we got Da Bears.
Duh.
Da Bears at number 1. Da Bears.
You know what?
Honestly, you guys deserve.
I give him
applause.
a lot of credit.
This is how you trade up to get a QB.
Absolutely.
This is how you trade up,
Absolutely.
not to get Mitch Trubisky.
Absolutely.
This is the way that it's
Dude,
done.
honestly, I gotta give Ryan Pace a ton of credit because this was not Matt Nagy. This was Ryan Pace, and he's like, dude,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna get absolutely fucking fired if I don't they went to the playoffs, but they were 8-8, bro. Like, you know what I mean? There was 7th seed. Like,
Oh,
it was embarrassing.
Pace's ass is on fire.
Oh yeah,
right now.
and Nagy is too. So I think Pace was like, dude, either A, I get fired, or B, we win some freaking games. So I might as well go get Justin Fields or get fired.
Swing, bro.
Bro, swing.
Fucking
And
swing.
then you get Tevin Jenkins in the second round, who's like I think should have gone like top 25, like, you know, before Darisaw. I liked him better than Darisaw. And Tevin Jenkins is, dude, you know what his biggest attribute is on like draft scouting things? Plays angry.
Wow.
And then you watch him play, and the whistle is blown. He's just throwing people into the ground. You're like, dude, that guy's 400 pounds. Why are you killing him? Like, he's
I mean, what could be more fitting for Chicago?
exactly. And
That's
like,
perfect for the
and then they
Bears.
took Khalil Herbert in the run, and like,
That was a great
in
pick.
later
Yeah, the
rounds.
running back.
yeah,
out of
and I really
Virginia.
liked him.
The running back
honestly,
out of Virginia, yeah.
That's you get Tariq Cohen, you get David Montgomery, who rushed for 1,000 yards last season, and then you get Khalil Herbert in there, and then now you actually have a solid rotation. And Tevin Jenkins steps in day one and is your left tackle.
Yeah, they got a good wide receiver out of UNC too, and Daz Newsome.
Yeah, I like Daz Newsome a lot too. UNC had a lot of good picks this draft.
Yeah, and also what an awesome name too, Daz Newsome.
Absolutely.
You got to root for anyone with that name.
Honestly, you know, them being in my same like division, I can't, you know, root for them. But like honestly, I've never hated the Bears. We've never been really rivals. My team sucks. Their team sucks. You know what I mean? We hate the Packers. But like, I really do like their draft. I have a bunch of friends that are Bears fans. I knew they were freaking stoked because, dude, a quarterback for the Bears means hope.
I can't think of a time that they've ever drafted a quarterback that has ever really yielded some optimism for the Bears. Like even because Mitch Trubisky, as soon as they drafted him, everyone, including Bears fans, were like, "What the fuck
What
are
the
you guys
fuck?
doing?" And then I honestly I don't know. Like, what quarterbacks have they drafted before that?
Rex.
So
Rex.
So what is that, 16, 17 years that you waited to draft a quarterback? So you go from Rex Grossman, you're like, oh, okay, well, he sucks, so let's just never draft quarterbacks
Dude,
ever.
honestly, like, I think they're just like, dude, let's just fucking do something that isn't Chicago. And for that, Ryan Pace, I applaud you.
100%. Shout out to you, Ryan Pace. Shout out to you, Bears. I am looking forward to seeing what you guys have to do. You guys deserve it because Chicago sports have kind of sucked for a while. All right. So with that said, please stay tuned because we're going to be releasing a video on the bottom 5 picks. Picks. I'm an idiot. Wow.
Bottom 5 teams drafting.
Bottom 5 teams drafting. And that's going to be coming out in a couple days. All right. Check out our Instagram, our Twitter, and our TikTok. It is on the page after this. Thank you. Bye.